I'm George.
And I'm Bob. We're the Shipping Goblins from Beetle and Grips. Today, we're going to talk about the amazing Map Vault Collection. And with the Map Vault Collection, you get a bunch of gorgeous two-sided maps, all scaled for standard minis.
Yeah, get yours now for the Map Vault Collection from Beetle and Grim, and all the players at your table will be revved up and hyper because the only thing they'll be able to say is...
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
Zoinks!
Yeah, do it again.
Zoinks!
Hello?
Who do you think you are?
Yes, Mr. Lillard.
You're just some common.
Yes, sir.
You can't just go off and use my
It's your
voice
thing.
like that. I have rights.
Completely. We just thought...
Wait,
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna take this right to
yes,
the
sir.
Beetle. Hey, Grim.
Thank you, sir.
What happened?
Matthew Lillard watches our show!
Zoinks!
Double
And one. Hello! Hello and welcome to Band of Badgers.
Hello.
Hopefully,
Hello.
if this isn't buffering, I'm Dave. I'm not your GM, but I am your host for this evening. And this is the Great British Brush Off. And these are my guests. Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing? All good?
Hello.
Good, thank you. You?
We're all
Yeah,
good.
I'm good.
You've got sound in a minute. I'm still watching the adverts.
I might be buffering. I don't know, but other than that, I think I'm good. So, welcome to this episode's special guest artist. This is Leia Robertson. Say hello, Leia. Oh, now I'm buffering. Now I'm stuck. This could get tricky.
I think I'm being introduced.
Yeah, I think you're being
I think
introduced.
I'm being introduced.
This is, see, that was my R2D2 impression. There we go. Okay. And on the other side, we have Theo from Gallant Goblin. How are you doing, Theo?
Hello, glad to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll just keep waving and keep talking like robots for as long as we can. We'll keep
Am I
doing
frozen?
it.
No.
Okay.
Thank you to Beetle and Grim.
We have sound in the stream from about a minute ago.
We've got it for 10 seconds. Let's see how long this will go. Thank you to Beetle and Grim's. Thank you to WizKids and VMuse for all of our minis that we're painting on this entire series. And thank you to Vallejo who for sending some paints. Well done. Thank you to all of our supporters. And as you can see, not in the box below me, but actually in the box below Leia is various discounts and the companies and supporters of us. Now, actually, Theo and Grady sent me a discount code, but I haven't had yet time to put it in the box. So it will go in there soon, but we'll shout that out later on the episode. Now, if you would like to support us, you can. We're on Twitch, which means there are Twitch Prime subs. It won't cost you a penny to do that if you have Amazon Prime, so please consider if you can. Today is Monday, which means it's the Great British Brush Off. Tomorrow is Tuesday, which means our Vazen adventure continues. Then we're back Thursday with our Runelords campaign. Friday, it's a night off. We've got nothing. We're giving Joe a rest because Joe has been working hard. We had the big wrap-up party. We might have a few hangovers. We're not too sure. But Joe, if you missed the announcements, go back and watch it while it's on Twitch. Joe is working on something special. You probably would have seen it on some of the pre-roll, but yeah, something very special is coming. And
When you say you've given me a break, you haven't. You've made me read more books.
that is also true. A holiday is a working holiday. Just crack that whip and get on with it. And on Sunday we'll be back with Vampire the Masquerade. Now, all that is done and finished. Let's do some shout outs. Who knows, we might even break the internet again. But let's see what we got. Let's see what we can do. Great Ghost Girl, thank you for joining us. How you doing? Baron Snowhound is there. Carbon 14, Chav Hunter. Who else we got? Crimson. Fry minis. Fry minis. Why would you fry minis? Maybe in batter. I'm not sure. Gamer Junkie 89. What, fry minis? We should find out what they are. I'm getting a bit of lag again. JJ and Paizo, thank you all so much for joining us. I just noticed my mic is a little bit loud as well. I will turn that down. So, for those of you who are just joining us and have never seen the Great British Brush Off before, what we do, the idea is we were all, myself, I'm Dave, Steve and Joe, we're all kind of basically amateurs of different kind of skill levels. I'm a -1. Steve is kind of somewhere maybe a +1 to, no, basically a +1. Joe, as we've discovered, is going on to kind of +3, +4 Vorgor Sword. It's just that years of Warhammer practice going on. But we all have this mini. We're going to be painting the Grey Maidens. This is the WizKids Deep Cuts Paizo model, Pathfinder model. And we're going to be cracking these open and painting them from scratch. Now, Leia is going over that way. Leia is going to be teaching us all the techniques that she wants us to do. Fantastic. And Theo is just our guest. He's going to hang out, have a chat, let us know what's been going on, but gets to paint these ones with us. Now, at the end, about 15 minutes towards the end, Leia will get to judge us. She will get to award the gold star. However, you at home get to judge us along with Theo to award the silver star. So whoever gets the runner-up gets the silver star. Now, as you can see, I've only got 1 star. Look at that. Look, 1 gold star. But I won a gold star.
Oh my gosh.
Me. I got a -1, but I got a gold star. Steve has been collecting those stars faster than Mario. And Joe's
Sonic. No, because it rings, doesn't it?
Sonic's rings.
Exactly. And then Joe's being quite consistent. Slow but steady. So he's getting it. Now, today's episode is also the very last of the Great British Brush Off Season 1, which means Season 2 is coming. Not just that, it's also now going to be coming every single week. So do stay tuned. We'll be back next week. Not in 2 weeks, but we'll be back next week with the first episode of Season 2, which means the stars start again. Okay? And then we'll find out who gets to win, who gets to do the most. So now, all that aside, I can just enjoy some painting, zen out for a little bit. We'll do some chit chat, throw some questions into live chat for anyone who you want to ask a question to, and we'll answer them if we see them, because we're going to be painting, so we're going to be looking down, but we'll try and get to them as we can. So Leia, it is over to you.
All right. Cool. So
We crack them open.
We can
go ahead and crack them open. I'm going to toss mine over there because I've already cracked mine open. I cheated just a little bit. But because while these guys crack them open, I'm going to talk a little bit about my pre-mini prep. These are, yes, totally, you can paint them right out of the box. But I just go over with a soft bristle toothbrush and a little bit of Dawn soap just to get any kind of release formula off of them. Sometimes if you've noticed that like you put paint on your miniature and it goes to like slide off, that's just got like a little bit of release formula on the mini still. It can just be washed off with a little bit of soap and water. So I've already gone ahead and done that. And I am just using, it looks like everybody's got really fancy rigs. I'm just using a little bit of blue tack or poster tack on a wine cork because that's the kind of person I am.
Well, I've got a cork.
All right.
So unprepared.
Yeah, mine has a cork with a bit of blue tack. There we go. It isn't a fancy paint stick holder thing, but
Yeah, we
Theo, if it
got
makes you
gifts
feel better,
last week.
I
Yes.
almost came to the table without my water.
I almost did too. I think I've got a mini holder downstairs, so I'll wait till there's an opportune moment, just run downstairs and grab it.
Yes.
I normally use a plastic shot glass.
Theo, why don't you go ahead and grab that, and I will talk.
Vamp.
Poof.
I'll be right back.
So I'm going to be painting the top maiden. So we've got like the shield and sword. I should hold her in the orange so you can see her a little bit. So this is the lady that I'm going to be painting. I'm actually going to be working off of a reference that I found because it's okay to do that. So if you're confused, or if you don't know how to paint something, look up a reference because that is totally okay to use references. I'm going to be doing that because I'm not a Pathfinder person, so I had no idea what an actual Gray Maiden looked like. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to crack open my wet palette here. And we're going to start, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start right in with some red paint. So we're going to be using Vallejo's Flat Red. I'm going to go ahead and give that a good shake. And then since there's going to be a lot of red fabric on the miniature, we go ahead and start with that. Generally, what I like to do is start with whatever is like the most under pieces of fabric. So like pants, generally like we've got a cape on this gal. We're gonna paint the cape first because that's the hardest part to get to. You always want to do hardest parts first. Ooh. All right.
Y'all finished painting already?
A question about the consistency of the paint. So I guess from experience you just know how thick your paint needs to be, but as a beginner, is there some like test you could do, some scientific way of knowing you've got the right thickness paint?
I think it's really up to you. I think it wasn't until very recently that I began to actually water my paints down. I tend to like the paints directly out of the bottle unless I'm working with Citadel paints. With Citadel paints, those tend to be much heavier paints. They do require just a drop of water. But generally, like Vallejo's or game paints, and even the Reaper miniature paint, they tend to be good just straight out of the bottle.
I have a quick question. What size paintbrush are you using?
I am using, this is a 0.
0.
This is a this like off-brand miniature painting brush. So this is just a it's called Art Stick. It is a 0. So this is probably a little bit smaller than I normally would have done, but what with this cape and all. But we've got lots of tiny little red bits that we're going to be getting here. So I'm just going to go ahead and slap that on there, and we're not going to worry too much about getting it all over the paint or all over the miniature because we're going to go through with some grays and silvers and whatnot and clean it all up.
I'm sorry, I missed the first step. What are we doing now?
We are going ahead, we are applying our red to different section. So for anybody who doesn't have a reference or anything, like you can obviously look at the back of the box if you need a reference. But we're doing like capes. It looks like the capes, the head crest. I do have on my reference photo, it shows that she's actually wearing red pants too. So you want to know what? We're just going to slather this maiden in red.
Someone needs to sing Lady in Red.
Lady
One with a better voice than I have.
He's dancing.
Cut his mic, cut his mic.
Yeah, we said
I can't. I have better power.
Twitch is going to shut us down.
You'll never make partner. You can't sing.
Yeah, was it DMCA?
Hey, we could do D&D karaoke. It's a new. It's a new show. Here we go. Or karaoke while you paint.
Sounds like you're gonna need a lot of bards.
No project with bards coming up.
Yeah.
You'll get barred from Twitch. Hey.
That's one of Josh's Harrison's one.
See what you did there.
Get out.
This is the kind of high quality content you come to Band of Baggers for.
Theo's a regular.
I know what to expect.
Hey, as long as I don't have to hear Joe say, "Yes, my child," one more time, I think I'll be all right. I was just waiting for the moment for him to be like, "Bless you, your child. Bless it." Blah. bless you, my child. Just be like, no, no thanks. You can have that back. Thanks, but no thanks.
Did you enjoy Vazen?
Oh my gosh. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed Vazen. Vaesen.
Yeah, one of those.
One of them. I think I called it like 9 million things until I heard Elle say it, and I was like, that is not how I've been saying it.
No, it's. I think it's Vezem. But yeah, when you read it, you just say sort of Vazen.
I think originally I said Vasen, and then I was like, wait, that can't be right. It's got to be something else.
So Leia, did you just put one layer on?
It looks like from the tone of this color, I'm gonna actually be putting on 2 layers. Just looking at the cloak, it looks like this red is gonna be on the thin side, so I'm gonna be putting 2 coats of red on. So I've put a pretty liberal amount on my wet palette here, and I'm just basically slathering it all over her body. Because they're called Gray Maidens, but they are clothed in a lot of red.
That's true. Dave, are you going to update us on the history of the Gray Maidens?
Nope. Nope. Mainly because my
throne, if I'm not mistaken.
They are.
Did we choose them?
Because at some point I
Oh
will
boy,
be playing
I'm in for it.
Star.
I feel like my dexterity score is too low to get to some of these nook and crannies.
Just smash it in there, all right? Just like you don't know what? I think I'm going to actually switch to a larger brush because this brush is just too tiny for what I want to do.
Racing.
If you had a jar, you could probably dip it.
Maybe not that. So I'm actually going to go up to a number 1 brush. And because, again, a lot of these little cracks and crevices, a lot of this is going to be red. And with a lot of, just like a lot of other types of art stuff, you always want to start with your lightest color and work to your darkest color. So that's why we're going to be starting with red and then moving to brown, where we're going to do all like the straps and whatnot. And then we will be going finally to the black.
I think I'm going to bust out my reading glasses. I'm old.
I'm always wearing my reading glasses, actually.
It's playing with the lights up here quite nicely.
This one's actually quite fiddly. I thought it was going to be easier, but it's trying to get into that cape behind her shoulders.
Yeah, so that's why I like to start with anything, like whenever you're painting a mini like this, I generally, as weird as it sounds because it covers a lot of the surface area, I tend to start with cloaks.
Okay.
And normally if she was showing some skin, I would start with skin. And then I move to if she's got any kind of cloak or the character's got any kind of cloak, because it's always harder to get the backside of the cloak without touching some of the armor bits.
Yeah.
Some minis more so than others. She's got kind of a flow going on here, so it's not too bad. So if we wanted to start with something else, we could have. Although red kind of layers okay over blacks and grays and whatnot. I'm going to be using a fairly dark gray during this, so I don't want to have to put on a million layers to get this painted to the red consistency that I want it to be at.
When given the option, do you prefer to paint the minis unassembled and then put them together?
I'm actually a little bit strange. So I do dabble in Warhammer every once in a while. I tend to paint and assemble simultaneously. It tends to drive some people crazy. Like I've got a really cool Sister of Battle that I like.
Oh, nice.
And I started by painting the base, and then like I had put her legs on the base, and then I painted the legs, and then I put the torso on. I tend to build and paint simultaneously. I found that Warhammer people don't like that, or at least the hardcore ones don't like that.
It makes a lot of sense, though.
Yeah, I'll paint
It
in
does
sub assemblies where possible.
There are some people who like. Some people who just like I had a friend send me a picture of this big like mech that they put together, and they're like, look, I'm gonna be painting this, and I was like, how are you gonna get into all those cracks? His arms are in the way. That would drive me insane. And he's like, oh well, I'll do it. I'm like, okay, whatever you say, man. So I think so if we look here, I'm just going to take a second while these guys are still coating they're putting their first layer of red on. So if you see here, I've kind of just slathered the red. It would be nice if I put mine in the light. I've kind of slathered the red onto a whole bunch of different sections. Just according to my reference, it looks like some of the bits, especially back here underneath the plating, that is also red. So I just kind of slathered the red anywhere where I thought it was going to be red. And then once we go back through with our silvers and whatnot, we'll tidy that up a little bit. But there's the first layer finished.
I'm so far behind.
Yeah, I'm still on the cloak at the moment. But trying to...
That's why I'm taking a second.
No, that's fine, that's fine.
Oh, you carry on.
Yeah,
We'll catch up.
That's
loading
the whole
up.
point.
They usually have nice renders of these minis, so you can see a bigger version of the paint job. You can Google it sometimes. I might load that up in a second.
Yeah, that's actually what I did is what I've actually got is right next to my Twitch window, so I can still see if there's any questions, which I haven't been checking, unfortunately.
That's all right, I'm keeping up. The only thing we've been asked is, can we get a song out of Theo, the world famous bard?
Like Grady who asked that?
Brady's picking
Out to
on
get me today.
So what I've done is I've actually got I saved a picture of a Grey Maiden that was kind of from the side view, so I could see a little bit of what the back armor looks like. And I've got that saved and just kind of up on my window, so I can take a peek and see kind of how the color palette is. I do that a lot with other miniatures that I'm not exactly familiar with. Especially when people throw strange creatures at me and I'm like, what is this? But I'll give it a shot.
There may be a pre-painted version because there was a whole WizKids line for this adventure path.
I think so. Yeah.
There may be a pre-painted one just for reference out there. But I don't remember right now. You can go watch The Gallant Goblin on YouTube and see our full review of it. Did we do one? I think we did. I don't remember anymore.
the Runelords blind boxes. Yeah, they came out a few years back.
Well, this one I'm thinking of Court of the Crimson Throne and Curse of the Crimson Throne.
Yeah. Well, this was I first saw the Grey Maidens in Shattered Star.
Oh yeah, I guess they've been on a few adventure paths at this point.
They've also been in the graphic novels. Very good. I mean, you got the Grey Maidens, and then you got the Hell Knights. But I think the Grey Maidens are just that little bit more spectacular.
Yeah, Grady says there's 2 in Shattered Star and 4 in Crown of Fangs.
Cool.
Neither of which we have reviewed yet.
There you go. That's why I have Grady out there. Trying to find this reference image I was talking about. There we go. So there is a lot of red on this figure, isn't there?
Yeah.
We mentioned we got Grady in the wings doing some research, just as we need him to. How are the new things coming along at Gallant Goblin? It's all new house, new location, new business, or expanding business.
Expanding business, yeah. I'm working full time doing it now.
Yeah.
We launched our Patreon recently, which is scary. But it's been going really well. I had a Patreon game with some of our backers yesterday, playing an adventure out of Can We Keep Mysteries, and had a ton of fun. We really enjoyed ourselves. We have some new projects coming up on Twitch and new books and stuff that's kind of expanding what we do, but it's a lot of fun. It's nerve-wracking. It's a lot of work. I'm looking forward to Friday, because Thursday we get our second COVID vaccine. So Friday we figured that we have an excuse to not work for an entire day and just enjoy being sick with side effects or something. And so we're looking forward to that. But yeah, it's been going well. I appreciate you asking. How are things going over at Band of Badgers?
We have we have lots going on.
I know.
I am very tired.
I'm gonna be doing one hour Twitch stream a week coming up.
Yeah.
And the fact that you do like 27 hours a week, I don't know how.
Well, that's just the stuff that's on. That's just the stuff that's on live. I mean, the amount of work we do behind the camera as well, to get everything set up. The amount of meetings that's going on. We got lots of things. We've got some changes coming to our April schedule, which we kind of teased in our pre-roll. So if you was around for the pre-roll, you would have seen some bits and pieces. But we're going to announce it properly once we get maybe April the 1st. see how many people believe us about the stuff we're
Thursday,
doing.
Right?
It is, yeah.
I need better lighting in this room. I'm trying to do lighting for my face on Twitch. And so the room itself is fairly dark, and I just have light shining on me, but I have very little on the mini itself.
That's why I've got like this crazy, I know it gives me like a horrible underlight, but like I had to have this like crazy craft light.
I just busted up my cell phone to try to get a sense of what the heck is going on here.
Just paint it all red, it'll be fine.
Fry Minis, thank you for following.
That's literally what I've done.
Baron's like very confused. They're called Grey Maidens, yet they're mostly red.
We're getting to the grey part. We're getting to the grey part.
Problem with the render is that the shield is hiding half of the body.
Yeah.
So
That's actually not my biggest. I think my biggest problem was just getting between the legs where the, like, where this cloth comes in front of the one leg and like next to the other one. But I've gotten I'm pretty happy with my 2 layers of paint, I think. I'm just gonna let some of that dry a little bit. And I think I'm gonna work on brown next.
I'm just trying to see where the bottom layer of the mini is, where I guess this red cloth is. Because there's so many little details on this mini.
Yeah.
I just like everything except for, like, you can see that there's very clearly a hip piece.
Yeah.
Like there's this hip piece, and then there is this forward shin guard.
Yeah.
That is the only thing I did not paint red on the legs, or I tried not to.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pin your video up here so I can see it better. Oh, that's much helpful. Okay. I just pinned it on my Zoom call here so I can see it.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, I'm being much more conservative with it than you are.
Don't be conservative. Just throw it on there.
Everything red.
That's the cool thing. So that's, again, another one of the reasons why I try to start at the lowest level. Like you want to start with other miniatures. It might be like a tunic undershirt or pants, anything that is the bottom layer. So like that's why a lot of times I talk in terms of layers. I start with the skin first, generally, because it's the thing that is underneath everything else. So that's like starting with eyes, doing skin colors. Then I work on doing like pants, anything that is like the lowest layer that's closest to the skin. And then like shirts, and then just kind of going layer on top of that, on top of that, on top of that. Generally, like in this particular instance, I'm going to be probably painting all of the metal bits last, which is normal for me. I'm going to be doing the straps because there are some straps that go underneath, like her shin guards. She's got straps up here on her arms. We're probably going to be saving sword for last as well. And then I'm going to show you guys a little trick that I do for muddying up the cloak. Because any adventurer knows that your cloak is there to catch all of the mud and keep your regular clothes clean. So I'm going to show you guys a cool little tip on how to darken up the base of this this cape to make it look like it's been dragged through the mud. So that's going to be super cool. Hopefully, I'll probably get to it.
I wonder if the cloak of billowing will shake out all the...
I had that. I had that. I had that.
Use prestidigitation on it. I was telling Grady, like, he asked me what my favorite magic item in D&D was, and I said that's probably the one.
Yeah, Obo, my turtle from Joe's Annihilation game, he gave me that as my birthday present gift. So I could stand there as a ta-ta.
That's amazing. Someone should make that in real life. That can't be too tough to do. Leigh, what'd you do with the midriff? Did you paint all that red as well?
Yes. So actually, I'll point here a little bit. So she's got some like clothing underneath here. So I just painted this whole midriff section, red all the way around. So if you look underneath the shield, I also got it under here and going and wrapping around the back.
Perfect.
So yeah, just triple check to make sure I got all of the little pieces. Because what I'm going to be doing next, so I've got my favoriteest brush in the whole world. I'm going to be using the Army Painter Wargamer Psycho. This is the smallest brush in the Army Painter line. It is, one of my girlfriends calls it the eyelash brush because it looks like I just plucked out my eyelashes and stuck it in a paintbrush, and that's what I'm going to be doing all of my little straps and stuff like that with.
Do you pluck out an eyelash and use that? Yeah, just pluck out an eyelash and use that?
Yep. What'd you say, Dave?
I ask the same question every week, but I noticed that you're actually using it. I asked the artist, do you prefer a round brush or one of those triangular brushes? But you just picked up a triangular brush.
All of my brushes have that triangular shape to them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I prefer them, but I have grown used to them over the last couple of years of painting. I've gotten kind of used to painting with these particular kinds of brushes, although I think if you can, I'm not painting in my screen, that probably helped. I tend to choke up really closely on the brush, especially with my detail brushes. So I do kind of use this like metal piece. You'll see if I use any of my other brushes, I've got like tape because I've choked up on them so much that the paint is just tripping off of the first section of my brush. But I do tend to like these brushes because they are nicely shaped for holding.
Cool. You're the only person. So out of the first 6 shows we've done, you're the only person who says they actually like them. I wasn't sure. I got a multi-pack of various brushes, and then in one of the packs I got these triangular ones.
Yeah,
what are they for?
I've got two craft brushes also that I use. for various washes, or if I'm doing larger brushes or larger miniatures that are also these triangular shapes. Now, that wasn't intentional. These are brushes that I've had for probably 10 years that have just made it through like my artistic career.
Yeah.
That have just been utilized as mini brushes now. But they do have that really comfortable triangular grip. So I have really enjoyed this like triangular shape. And again, it might just be because I've gotten used to handling a triangular brush. But I think they are quite comfortable. I do tend to continue to buy these Army Painter brushes, much to my bank account's dismay.
Leia, I saw that you were, I think it was called a featured artist for WizKids. What does that mean?
Oh yeah. So in 2020, I got to work with WizKids and VMuse to do paint miniatures for D&D Live. Back before COVID shut everything down, I got asked to paint for D&D Live. And they kind of put the project on hold, and then it was going, and but I did do some really cool paint projects with them for that, and that's basically what that means.
Did you do some of the painting that they've like first like the Icewind Dale minis?
Yeah, so that's actually what we got to paint. From what I understand, what we were doing is we were basically painting the minis. We were painting the minis that would eventually come in like the packs. That would come pre-painted, and we were just painting ones that got 3D printed or however they were doing them. So we were given some really cool like templates, like here's how you paint this, and this is what we would like to look like. It was a really fun experience. I got to meet a lot of really cool artists. Yeah, I got some really cool photos of miniatures that I painted. I got to do the Frost Slod, I want to say, or no, it was Salamander. It was a Frost Salamander.
Yeah.
That was really cool to do. I really enjoyed doing that. I got to paint some really cute kobolds. They had some really cute scarves. They were adorable.
They had those kobolds that were promo packs. They were like little kobolds throwing snowballs and things like that too.
Oh my gosh. I want kobolds throwing snowballs.
It was super cute.
Oh,
What'd you do, Joe?
I got black where there shouldn't be black.
How'd you get black? Are you working on black already? What are you doing over there?
I've done my shield and my cloak black because I've got something that I want to try out.
Okay.
Somebody doesn't follow the rules.
There are no rules. This is mini painting. There are no rules. If somebody tells you that there are rules, you tell them to and do something explicit.
I'll just send them to you. You can
you send them to me and I'll tell them. Cause like, so that's the funny thing is so I paint, like I've mentioned before, I dabbled a little bit in Warhammer painting. And I was really proud of some of the stuff that I did, and I posted some stuff on Reddit, and a lot of people are like, you clearly don't paint the way that Warhammer is supposed to be painted.
Oh my God.
No. I don't paint. I do not have the Warhammer aesthetic paint style. I think that comes from having painted minis for so long with like my own paint style. I don't believe in edging at all. I think anybody who edges their minis is a psycho.
I don't know what that means.
So what they do is like on all of the little edges of like the armor and stuff like that, essentially you take your paintbrush and you put it in the paint, and then like you take the side of your paintbrush and you run it across like the edge.
edges of the things.
I can't do it.
Is it sort of like cell shading kind of thing, like to make it look comic booky?
Not really. It's just like to give the edge like a super extra highlight. Joe can correct me if he wants. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's dumb and it's too much work. And you
But
want to know what
really
I can
think?
do? I can do the same thing with like a regular paintbrush or like my dry brush stuff, and then just like you can do basically the same thing. It just looks a little bit different, and I tend to like it because it makes what looks like little micro scratches on the surface.
So what you're supposed to do is they'd highlight your like, generals and your bigger HQ units and things like that.
I
And
don't care.
not just the troop choices, but as my mates say, I'm a sadist and I highlight everything.
I don't even care. I'm just going to dry brush everything, and anybody who says otherwise can fight me.
The dry brushing and the washes, that's about the extent of my special abilities.
Oh yeah, that's another thing that I do that Warhammer people hate, is I cover the entire Warhammer in wash, and they're like, you're only supposed to put it in the crevices. Screw you.
I'm using a dip. I've made my own wash, and I've got literally I hold a pair of tweezers and just dip the whole model in and shake it off.
Okay, see, you're the people. You're one of the people that I like.
Trav Hunter's asking, so Citadel Paints have got contrast paints. Do you know of any other companies that are doing any paints in that way? Do you know if Vallejo have got any?
So contrast is interesting from what I know of contrast. Contrast is supposed to be, from what I understand and all the research that I did when they first came out with contrast paints, is you're supposed to be able to make your minis table ready with contrast paints. From what I've seen, the example was that they based the entire mini in black, or sometimes they said like white or whatever. And then you can take an airbrush and use directional painting to either create shadows or highlights.
I think you use it straight from the brush, from the pot.
You use it straight from the pot, and you just apply it to the miniature. Like for instance, there's contrast. I'm gonna use blue because the Warhammer is the most known for their what do you call it? Space Marines, the blue Space Marines. So the video that I watched, they painted the entire miniature in black and then used a airbrush to do like a white highlight. So if this is my mini that I'm looking at here and it was entirely black, they took an airbrush and sprayed it down, like we'll say 45 degrees. So there was a nice highlight here, and it kind of simulated what it would look like if your sun was hitting you at a 45-degree angle. And then what you can do with the contrast paints is you can take it, layer it over that highlighted bit, and then your miniature is basically shaded and all ready to go. It's got like a very basic but pretty highly detailed paint job. So if you don't know a ton about miniature painting or all of like the specifics that go with it, that's a really good way to get just table ready miniatures. That's all I know about it. You could probably do it with like regular paints as well. If you painted a miniature black or something like that, and then used white or anything like a gray to create like highlights and whatnot, wherever you want the highlights to catch, and then you use the contrast paint over that, and it makes the miniature look like it has that tone across the entire miniature. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That's the initial research that I did that yielded that result.
It's kind of like highlighting a can.
Basically. Yeah.
Can you, Lee? Can you backtrack a little bit? So what colour are you working on now? You're working on the feet, the boots.
I am working on my straps. So you can see here, if I get this a little bit closer to the screen without. So I'm taking my chocolate brown. So I've sneakily put some of this chocolate brown on my wet palette, and I'm using just a very small detail brush to brush on the little straps that are on her legs. Since I'm not going to be getting super crazy about this, I'm just kind of finding the areas that look like straps, because she does have a lot of fabric that is kind of bunched under there. So I'm not worrying too much about edges or anything like that. So I'm just getting those little strappy bits all painted up.
Okay.
I really need more light in here. I have to find a way to put a flashlight up here.
Oh no. You got this, Theo. I believe in you.
Just can't see very well, is my problem.
So many little nooks and crevices.
Yeah.
It's hard.
My issue is that, like, I think I'll have a whole area covered with paint until I get a little flashlight on there, and then I see all these little white specks everywhere with the mist.
Yeah, that is, that's frustrating, because most of it's painted red as well. The white bits really stand out.
Yeah. So I'm still revisiting the red to try to find all those little bits.
That's why I always say that, like, don't get too crazy with thinking that you've got to paint in the lines, because we're going to paint over a lot of this red. So that's why I kind of went paint crazy and didn't care if I got it all over other sections of the mini, because I knew I was going to be painting over it.
Yeah, I think that's a good philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
One of kind of along the same lines as the contrast paints, but different still, are these shifters. Have you used any of those?
I haven't. Are you talking like the Vallejo shifters?
Vallejo shifters, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I want them so badly. One day, because I think they're for airbrush.
They've
got like an airbrush set.
Yes, but you can put them on with a brush as well.
I've got some really cool pieces that I've 3D printed that I think would look really cool in just some shifter paint and like some OSL.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, object source lighting, for anybody who doesn't know mini jargon.
Yep, I don't know, but I'm learning. That's good.
OSL, object source lighting. So if you've got anything that is shining a direct light onto your miniature that is making a very specific highlight, that is your object source lighting.
You can do some really, I've seen some really cool things that people do with like spell effect lighting. They're holding a fireball in their hand and it illuminates their armor or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had a go on Friday at that. And it is being stripped. I look at it now and I hate it. No, I've got to strip it. I can't bear the sight of it.
No. Has anybody been able to successfully train their cat to hold a flashlight?
Nope. Sorry.
Didn't know you could actually train cats to do anything.
I was going to say exactly the same thing.
I've trained mine to meow when he's hungry.
I've got one that does that.
It's a pretty simple trick to teach them. They pick it up naturally.
I've got 3 cats and I only have one cat that knows what time he is I say trained, but he knows when he's supposed to eat. That's basically it.
Yeah, my cats can remind me when it's feeding time for sure. Okay, sorry, I'm a hot mess over here right now. I'm knocking my paint camera all over the place. My precarious setup. I have things propped up on other things.
Yep, I all my stuff is all rigged up on I've got blue tack at the moment.
See if I can move this. I currently have somewhere between 4 and 10 cats.
Wow.
Not entirely sure exactly how many. Because one is preggers.
Okay.
I was gonna say, does the amount shift from day to day?
It's possibly. It's they're just there's a mystery going on inside there that eventually I will find out the answer to.
Ooh, here's got some brown fused together.
So if there's any listeners in the greater Houston area who's in the market for a Little kitten. Visit me at the Gallant Goblin on Twitter. Or Gallant Goblin on Twitter, I believe. Oh, it's so much better now that I have this flashlight hooked up.
It's crazy the amount of detail you can see when you finally can actually see.
Right?
So how long have you actually been painting for, Leah?
I want to say probably about going on 5 years.
Okay.
But you own you do this as a business as well, though, don't you?
Yes, this is actually my job. So I have an Etsy store where I take all of the various paints that I do and I sell them. Well, not just minis. I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I do. I do.
Tell us about the armor.
Huh? The armor?
Chainmail. Armor.
The chainmail? Like the armor I'm wearing?
Yeah, there you go.
Wearing a bit of scale mail. Yeah, so I actually also weave chainmail, which is been a whole beast in and of itself. Because it's a lot of fun and it's hard to just do a little bit of it. I've got like 4 boxes of just chain in various colors and sizes because I do all kinds of cool weaves with it. It's a lot of fun.
How did that get started?
I met somebody at college who, like, between classes, he would weave chainmail. And I was like, hey, that's really cool. I would totally love to be able to do that. And he pointed me in the direction of where I could get chainmail. And I was lucky enough that the website that I got my chain from did like a bunch of YouTube videos on how to do chainmail, and I just kind of took some of the tutorial stuff and then just kind of
Ran with it.
Yeah, I just went from there and just basically self-taught a lot of the technique and stuff like that I know now is a lot of me putzing around with chainmail for various amounts of time.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's super fun. There's a lot of really cool patterns. I did eventually, because I'm a big nerd, get into scale mail. So I've got like this little scale mail necklace. Hopefully I can make more of these. I'm seeing if they even function very well. This little bit of scale mail.
You have to, on the Twitch screen, your neck is cut off. So you have to
oh, wow.
There you go.
Now, with your business, do you take commissions to paint other people's minis, or you just paint your own and sell those?
No, I do commissions as well. A lot of the commissions have been for Hero Forge minis, which has been super cool. I love when people bring me stuff that like they made themselves and want to have painted specifically. So real quick before I continue, I'm going to pump up to a detail brush to do some of my browns. So I can do this belt using a bigger brush, guys.
I don't think I have this brushes that small to begin with.
Yeah, I was gonna say my smallest brush is still bigger than, still bigger than that one.
Oh boy. Good luck, guys.
You had very large straps on mine.
It's okay. Just use a very, very, very tip.
Yeah.
But anyways, but yeah, I have done commissions. So if there's anything, shoot me a message. I love being able to talk about people's characters and being able to get them exactly what they need. Even if, like, I've had a couple of people come to me who don't have Hero Forge minis, that I've been able to, like, we've together found cool miniatures that we can use for their characters, and then I paint them up. I basically go through like a whole, I'm gonna paint a thing and then I'm gonna send you a photo and then I'm just gonna wait until you say it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do a lot of that checking in kind of. Although a lot of the people that I've painted for in the past have been like, I don't care, just here are the colors that I like and just do a thing. Which has been...
Which do you prefer? Do you prefer, can you just paint my mini, I want it to look good? Or do you prefer, like, I want the trousers this colour, I want this colour, etc.?
I think a lot of people who want custom minis, I haven't had anybody who's been that specific. I've had, there was one guy that I did a paint for who was like, this is the color that I kind of want to have the jacket be, and like, here's another complementary color, just kind of like play with whatever makes you feel, whatever feels right. And I kind of played with the idea a little bit and changed it, but like, I sent a photo after I finished it and I was like, here's my interpretation of what you were looking for. And he was like, just go with it. Just keep running. Just keep going. So I nobody that I've painted for so far has been like, this is the exact, all right, no, I can't say that.
No.
I do have one person that I paint for consistently that like has a consistent commission with me. Cause like every time I give him stuff back, he's like, here's some more things that I have for you. When I was doing like Pathfinder, like the classic Pathfinder characters, like I think it was like Kyra and
Arisil.
Yeah.
We'll be doing
recognize
those.
them if I hear them.
We'll be doing those soon as well.
So when I got those miniatures, they were like, find reference photos of these guys. It's like their names on the package. You can't miss it. Paint them exactly like that. That's the only time I've ever had anything like that happen. Most of the time people say, just do what feels right. Here are some colors. Here's a vague idea. Run with it.
Have you ever painted something that's, I don't know, very large, maybe with somewhere between 4 and 6 heads?
I did do a Hydra once.
Couple of arms.
Couple of arms. I did have
maybe dragon related.
Dragon related?
But not Tiamat.
Definitely not Tiamat. I've never painted a Tiamat whatsoever. There's no Tiamat behind the curtain.
Definitely not.
Not for anybody specifically. Like I said, I have done a Hydra. That was insane because the Hydra has not only, I think, 5 heads, but they can swap out for each neck for the 5 heads can split off into the 2. So it was like 15 heads. I was so done with Hydras after that. And I was like, I don't want to paint any reptiles. I don't want to see any dragons. Next, please.
Yeah, that's the one from Pathfinder Battles. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I think that was the one.
Okay, folks, we are just past 10 o'clock, which means we have 45 minutes left before judging begins.
I was worried then that you're going to be like 10 minutes. I was like, what?
No, I was a little panicked there for a second as well, because I was like, oh crap, I've been putzing around.
Do you know how excited you looked when Dave told you that you get to judge people?
And just to be clear, we're judging the 3 of you, right?
Yeah, it is. Well, you will be judged.
No.
but on the inside.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm sliding my palette over here really quick because I just want anybody who wants to observe this.
Cool.
So I'm going to be doing, I'm going to go ahead and start doing the shield and all of the armor on my miniature. I'm going to do something. I think we mentioned I had the guys grab a regular silver as well as gunmetal. So we've got like a nice bright silver opposed to like a nice dark silver. I want my Gray Maiden to be kind of on the dinged up side. I want her armor to look a little bit on the used side. So I'm going to use a little bit of a mixing technique. I'm going to take half silver and half black. And I'm going to mix these two together to make a darker silver, but it's going to be a very muted silver. So it's not going to be quite as shiny. Actually, probably do 60-40. That's probably a better idea. But then that way I can get a nice dark silver that will complement her red armor very well. But I want it to when I put the highlights on, I want them to be able to pop. I want to really be able to see them. So
Another
I'm
quick
going to
question.
use-
I was told not to use metallic paints on a wet palette. True or false?
I think that is both true and false. And here's why. So I use, if I'm going to use metallics on my wet palette, I'm going to use all of the metallic. Or it just is no good anymore. What tends to happen is the metallic tends to settle on the paper of the wet palette, and then it's not that easy to mix up after you've like put away your wet palette and tried to bring it back out. I've never been able to really successfully bring back a metallic that say sat overnight on my wet palette. So generally when I do metallics on my wet palette, it is going to be me using all of the metallic for that particular instance. I'm going to drop just a drop of thinner in this because the silver is a little bit thick and I want this to be nice and thin, so it'll drop into all of these really nice recesses. Like this paint will probably end up going bad because I've got way too much paint here on my palette, but I am willing to make that sacrifice.
For you, Dave. She does it for you.
Yep.
Doing it for you, Dave.
Thank you very much.
For you.
And how soon after you put a layer on can you paint over that layer?
It depends on how wet the layer is. If it is super wet still, you are probably just going to end up smushing the new paint with the old paint that you just applied.
So
if you go ahead.
I was going to say, can you see the color there? So I've got two drops of silver, 1 drop of black, or should I go darker?
That is totally up to you. So like I'll make mine real close here. So I've got about a 50-50. I think I might have gotten a little bit more black than silver. It's really hard to see with this light. If you compare it, like, so if I can compare it to my gunmetal color here, it's about the same color as my gunmetal. But what's going to happen is the black is going to really mute the silver particles in the silver paint.
So you're trying to dull down the reflectivity of
exactly.
The paint. Is that word?
Is that what?
Yeah.
The reflectivity. I'm not even sure that's a word, but it sounded good when I said it.
Reflexology.
Okay.
And I am using. I'm using this Wargaming Army Painter Kolinsky Masterclass. This came just with. I buy those Army Painter box sets of paintbrushes. So this is one of the paintbrushes that comes with it. It's got a nice, super, super fine tip. That's why I love it. It's got a little bit longer bristles, so like I can reach like underneath her legs here to get some of the bottom part of that shield.
And you're just putting this all over the shield?
I am doing the whole shield. Normally, if I were doing this for anything else, I would cover the shield up, and then normally I would probably do some gold accenting, but I don't have the time for that. I might have the time for that. I might smack out some gold. You guys are still putzing around by the time I finish up.
So
I do nothing but putz around.
That's why we stream. So you mentioned you take paid commissions from the general public and everyone else. Have you got anyone famous on the lists?
Do I have anybody what?
Famous? You got any of the D&D celebrities or anyone
no, I'm
who?
not that cool yet.
Yet, you know.
But if any of you are watching, hit me up.
There you go. What is the largest mini you've painted? I think I have an idea.
The largest aside from the ship,
That's what I was thinking.
I did paint what is that ship actually called? It's like the
Falling
star.
Star?
Falling Star. I knew it was star something. Aside from the Falling Star is my Dragon Tyrant, the Tianot. Tianot. She is my second largest miniature that I have ever painted.
Do you have your eyes on any new minis that might be coming down the line from Reaper, or any other ones that you really want to paint up?
Nothing that I have seen so far, although I haven't really been looking because I didn't want to get too excited about something that was coming out because I've been trying so hard to finish Tiamat.
Right.
Which has been just a chore on its own, being the size of miniature that it is.
I believe Reaper has a new ship as well.
They do. They've got like a pirate ship that came out for their Reaper Live deal. Because I think they were doing like a bunch of pirates for this last D&D Live, Reaper Live.
Brine Wind or something that the line was called.
Yeah, I think so.
I do not have the ability to paint something that large at this point. I'll build my way up from painting goblins to a big ship.
Saying that, I mean, I had a couple of weeks back, I tried to paint a stone giant. And I found it actually a lot easier because it was, it's a much larger mini. And previously on this show, we started with the Paizo goblins, which are tiny. And then we did orcs, which were, a lot more visible, but still medium sized. But doing those kind of large giant figures, so they're, still humanoid, little bit of detail. And I found that much easier to paint.
Easier to manipulate in your hands, I suppose.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the proportions tend to be larger, so you have an easier time being able to get some of the details down. I found the same thing when I began doing more bust work. So the bonus of having a 3D printer is now I can print out really gorgeous detailed busts. And I've been able to work on some like facial features that I haven't really been able to take advantage of while painting like any of the Paizo stuff or Paizo stuff, or Nolzors or anything that WizKids has come out with. And I feel like the detail that you can get crunched into a bust like that, like the 75mm busts, is really incredible once you scale all that stuff up.
I mean, like Theo knows, or I know that Theo's got has reviewed the Epic by Steamforged, the Epic Encounters.
That's exactly what I was thinking of right now. I was thinking of their Frost Giant.
I've got that. That was bought for me for my birthday, and I got the Orc King set as well. And that Frost Giant is amazing. I mean, it's huge,
isn't it?
And it's got. Have you noticed it's got like the weapons
impaled upon it?
Yeah,
it's got like carcasses tied up to its legs as socks.
Like, it is amazing.
It's one of my favorite minis ever,
and I really want to paint that.
Yeah, that's the one I want to paint too.
I think that's definitely what I would suggest if you're worried about painting miniatures for the first time. Get something larger and mess with that a little bit, because as I was saying, the proportions are a little bit larger, so it'll be easier to kind of manipulate and really figure out how you'd like to paint.
I mean, there was I think we mentioned it the other night during the rap party, but a potential Kickstarter idea if anyone's listening who wants to help out the badgers a little bit. You take Epic Encounters, for example, which has an encounter in a box. It's a one shot. You get a flip map, you get 2 locations, and fight the Frost Giant or fight the Orcs, and then fight the Frost Giant, whatever you want to do. But there doesn't seem to be, that I've found in my limited research, for beginners, paint your own diorama. And I was thinking to have that as a little project. So you've got WizKids, yeah, you've got WizKids who are doing their paint along, which is their various monsters of like large sizes, which are great. But could there be like a battle scene that you could paint, much like Warhammer?
Oh.
But we're using D&D and Pathfinder, using fantasy minis or even sci-fi minis. Is there something like that could be done?
That's what I like.
I think it'd be kind of interesting to do.
Josh is saying he's looking forward to a snake set that's coming up.
Yeah, that's the next Epic Encounters from Steamforged Games is going to be like Snake Men.
Have you seen the spider?
Yes.
Wow.
Dave loves spiders.
There was a pretty interesting spider mini that came out in the last Pathfinder set.
Yeah, the purple one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one.
That was a beast.
Yeah, it's horrible. Brilliant, but horrible.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to fight it.
Oh, my players did. In Runelords.
Oh, did they?
Yep.
Ooh, that particular mini?
Yes.
Oh. How many people died?
Rupp nearly did.
Oh.
So yeah, we nearly lost they nearly lost the cleric.
That's not the one you want to go down first.
Nope. Well, I did.
Oh yeah, obviously. You've had it in for Rupp from the beginning.
Yeah, who likes Rupp?
So if anybody who's doing I'm just going to real quick draw us back to this mini real quick. So anybody who does like the little mix technique, if you take a look here, you can see how like I've got this really nice dark silver going
That's cool.
on.
I don't think mine was dark enough. Mine's quite... You can't see it on that, but yeah, mine's quite light.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a brighter silver. But with this nice 50-50 mix, we get like this nice dull silver. So it looks like a nice used armor.
Oh. No! Don't paint above your wet palette.
Don't paint your phones either, folks.
Yep. I just dropped my mini into my paint.
You dropped your mini into your paint?
Yep.
No.
Wow.
It's okay. She landed in the mud, the brown. So now it's mud.
That's just role playing. That is.
I don't know if that will ever compare to having dropped a mini that you've worked painstakingly on, dropping it into your wet palette.
Ooh.
Oh, the heart attacks I've had.
These are stories that I don't like hearing.
So what? Here's a question for both Theo and Leia. What's the next big project for both of you? This let's say summer, because we're changed. The clocks have gone forward. So, what's coming this summer for you both that you're allowed to talk about or tease?
Leia, why don't you go first?
I don't really have a lot. The Badger stuff that I've been able to do this week and the last 2 weeks have really been the highlight.
Oh, thank you.
Of my year so far.
Oh. You can come back now. You can come back.
Yep. I am working on with Split the Party. I'm going to be doing a paint stream, like a morning paint stream. Wake up and
that was
stuff.
Matt. That was Matt who I introduced you to, and we ended up talking for hours.
Yep. You introduced us and we are putting together. I know he's posted the picture of like our like what's the word that like our overlay that we're hoping to achieve.
Yeah.
I know he's posted that up on his Twitter, and we're very excited about getting that started. I think we've decided that's gonna probably be I think he said mid April to end of I keep wanting to say October. Mid to end April, I think, is the goal for that.
Cool.
But that's about it. Other than that, it's just me focusing on getting stuff up in my shop, really. I'm pretty boring. Theo's probably got better stuff going on than me.
Oh no. I aspire to be able to just be a creator and make all the cool stuff that you have in your Etsy shop. I was just looking through there, figuring out what I want to order. Just to
Oh no, I mean, there's nothing. There's definitely nothing wrong with what I'm doing. I absolutely, I am 100% blessed to be able to wake up and do this every single day. And aside from like I had to run to the game shop today to go get more paint, I spent my morning touching up my Tiamat and like getting all of her shading done and prepping her for her own her photo shoot. And I get to actually take pictures of her and put her in my portfolio. But like I get to do what I'm doing right now every single day. And at night I weave chainmail, and that's
sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's pretty great. It's like I said, I feel pretty blessed that I get to do that every single day. It's great. It is super great. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with doing this. I'm not disappointed in that.
You made me realize that I think most game stores these days are little art museums. We walk in there and see, I mean, they all have a display of Warhammer painted minis. And you can go see the artistic creativity of the people in your community.
Yeah.
And it's super cool to see that. And they're amazing. Like, people can do some really cool things with those minis.
No, it's always really cool to hear. Like I had a friend who purchased a really cool warlock that I did from my shop, and he said that he almost had to fight somebody because he thought that somebody was going to make off with it after their game.
Oh God.
And he was like, you know, I just wanted you to know that like it's really great and that like
I almost had to throw down for it.
Yeah, like, he almost had to go fisticuffs for it, and I was like, thanks. Don't hurt anybody. Give him my card.
There you go.
Plenty where that came from. I don't have an entire wall of unpainted miniatures for nothing.
I definitely have a pile of shame over here that I need to paint.
It's not a pile of shame. It is a pile of potential.
There you go. Optimism. I love it.
Yep. I painted something and I regret painting it, and I would like it to be red again, please. See, this is why we painted red first.
Yeah, I definitely need to go back and do another red layer here in a minute.
I got a couple bits.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to talk about our summer plans for Dave's question, but go ahead and finish.
No. You talk about. I've talked enough.
Oh no.
You talk, Theo.
No. Thank you. No, we are working on some projects with Apotheosis Studios.
Yeah.
With Jameson Stone and Satine Phoenix. That we'll be talking about more this month in April, this coming month.
Cool.
And so that's something we're looking forward to. And on the creative side, Grady's been releasing new supplements through our Patreon just for free.
Yeah.
That are really cute, creative, a lot of NPCs. We're kind of making our own little D&D setting, starting with our Gallant Goblin Tavern. And everything has original art that's super cool. He's been releasing it on Twitter and Reddit and places. If anybody wants to check it out, you might enjoy it. So we're trying to get as much creative stuff done as we can, just besides our regular videos. And you'll be seeing me more on Twitch pretty soon.
Good.
For better or worse.
Are you going to do what you do on YouTube, on Twitch? Are you going to do like live reviews and unboxings, or is it all new content?
The first thing I'll be doing is actually GMing a little adventure.
Yeah.
That we'll talk more about soon. But it'll just be a short little run series, hopefully with some names of people you may have heard of before. And that should be super exciting. And plus to some people that from my life that I want to introduce the world to. I had the opportunity to run a game, and I was like, I don't want to just go get the professional players I know. I want to go find those people in my life that everybody should know.
Yep.
And so we are in the process of giving a crash course in D&D to two of my favorite people who have never played before. And I'm like, well, your first games are going to be live in front of dozens and thousands and millions of people. One of those. So my whole life right now is crash coursing people in D&D. And
technically my first proper game of D&D was live on YouTube with Dave.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It seems like it went pretty well.
Yeah, not bad.
As we said on the wrap up, my young Padawan has now become the master. There you
go.
He has left the nest. He's now starting up his own party without me. He will be doing his own producing as well.
There, Dave.
And I don't know, and you might have the same kind of question same kind of thoughts for Gallant Goblin, but I don't know where this is kind of going. We're doing these adventures and we're talking to various publishers, and it's been fantastic. In a year where the world is in lockdown, we managed to talk to people. There wasn't conventions. We had this conversation a lot. So those of you who know us, you would have heard this before. But it's been great, actually. We've spoken to so many people that we wouldn't normally have the opportunity to. We've started something new, and hopefully we can continue to do that. But I don't know where it's going to go. And only that's a question that's come up recently, because they said, I was asked, are you trying to set up a network? Is it more than a channel? And I was like, I don't know. I don't actually. We don't make any money from this. This is all for fun. I don't actually know how you make money from it. But this is. I enjoy doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, doing what we enjoy. Yeah?
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Plus, it's kind of stops it being feeling like work for us. So it
doesn't feel like work for you. You said.
It doesn't. I mean, Theo knows I tend to work till midnight on most nights, working on Badger programs and Badger ideas and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't feel like work. If I got paid to do this and it was still the same kind of stuff, I'd love it. But there's also the day job is the one that pays the bills, and everything else that comes in between. But have you thought about where you want Gallant Goblin to be?
Grady, I think, has an entire 5-10 year plan.
Wow.
He could probably sit down and tell you exactly where he wants the Gallant Goblin to go.
Me and Grady need to have a chat then, because maybe he can help me.
Maybe. I've been afraid to ask him what the plan is. I just kind of let him set the course, and I just and the good little worker goblin behind the scenes.
Bumble along beside him.
Yep. He's definitely the brains of the operation. He is the creative mind behind the operation. If it was just me, it wouldn't be much. And so he's planned so much. He has a lot of. He wants it to move into a lot of the creative aspect of it, creating campaign settings and stories, and trying to make the game feel as inclusive as he possibly can. With the characters and the players. That's one reason I want to feature in my first game, like people who have never played before, just to show that, D&D 5th edition especially is pretty easy just for someone who's never played before, just to jump in and have a great time the very first time they play.
Yes.
they don't have to know hardly anything.
It's the easiest way to learn, isn't it, as well? It's just,
Yeah.
Here's some
There's
dice.
a lot to master
Roll
of
them.
it. Sorry?
Here's some dice. Roll them.
Yeah. Tell me what the numbers say, and then we'll tell you what happened.
Yeah.
And so that's what's fantastic about it. Anybody can join in and play, and they shouldn't have to feel intimidated. It's just people having fun.
It's like,
So-
can I do this? I don't know. You tell me.
Roll that die and I'll let you know. Yeah, in our home game, we've brought in people from my workplace who's like, oh, I've seen people play on The Big Bang Theory, and I want to give it a try. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, come on over. We'll make a character, and we've had little characters that came into the story that way who had a big impact on the story.
Mm.
And it's been awesome. So I don't know if it's me rambling while I try to paint this jewel on this shield that I see, but very badly. But yeah, that's
I'm
kind
just
of
gonna make it silver because I think that's just what it is.
I'm making up a jewel in there. I just wanted another little color to add to it.
You
The
do you.
Leia, the sword.
Yes.
Would you just keep that normal? Would you do that like pure silver or gunmetal?
So what I'm gonna do with the sword here, let me get my ground on here real quick. So what I did with the sword is I took the same color because there's not a lot of, because this is a lot of her is just like this back section, and I had a lot of this like gunmetal-y color left over. Is I painted the sword hilt the same color as her the rest of the metals on her gear, and then I took a little bit of black and I painted the sword black. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back with I'm gonna actually use some Necron compound from Citadel for a dry brush. But if you took a little bit of like the bright silver and do like a little bit on your palette and then knock it off on your what is this called?
Tissue.
Paper towel.
Yep.
Tissue, yeah. I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing on it so it looks like it is I'm trying to go more for the used metallics look. So I'm actually just prepping all of that now. I was going to get ready to, if anybody wants to listen, I'm going to do the bottom of my cape right now.
Okay.
So what I've got here is I'm going to take the brown that I have already set aside. This was the brown that I used for my straps, and a little bit of black that I put on my palette for the sword. And I'm just going to take this. This is a vehicle terrain brush that I have clipped most of the bristles off of. This used to have longer bristles, but I use it for doing a lot of like dab work. It's also like if you use it for blood for the blood god, if you want that kind of look. But this is super good for some flecking on capes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to tap it into this brown color. I'm going to tap a little bit into the black, kind of make just like a dark, muddy brown color. And then I'm just going to take that color and I'm just going to tap the bottom of the cloak a little bit. And it doesn't matter if it gets all over the place. It's supposed to be a bit of a, this is supposed to be just like dirt and stuff that has accumulated at the bottom of her cloak. So I'm just taking this and tapping it. So if you got any large brush or anything like that, you can do that with this. Add a little bit of water to kind of water it down a smidge. I'm also tapping it on my paper towel here to kind of just thin it out, get a little bit of the excess off of my brush. All right, this brush is a little bit too stiff. I have to go with a different brush. Let's see here.
While you're getting that ready, I might throw out there in the chat, Will Dockerel is talking about how D&D is difficult for him because, him or her, because they have a hard time improvising and coming up with ideas on the fly, and they say they're not sure what they can do under the rules, so they decide to do nothing. And I thought maybe if y'all were thinking of maybe some things that could help them out, they might
Team up.
appreciate that.
The easiest thing to do is let someone else do the first step, and if you can imagine what they're doing. Again, you think about comics, superheroes, X-Men. The fastball special is mentioned quite a lot. If you see something happening, you think about your physical size, what can be done. The fighter or the barbarian usually steps in first. Just follow their lead, and then just another thing to do is just think about films and action sequences that you've seen and recreate them. There's no harm being Neo, the Matrix, in D&D. You can do that.
I learned.
DM says yes.
I was gonna say, I learned a lot when we did the Road to Baldur's Gate when I was playing with Steve and Jeff, because you guys are both really really good role players, and I learned a lot about role playing just from playing with you guys.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it comes with time though as well. Is like sometimes you're not always sure what to say. I know I had trouble with this 2 weeks ago, and I consider myself to be a veteran role player, because I've done a lot of D&D and role playing games. Not even 2 weeks ago, my first episode in Vassin, I wasn't sure how to communicate with the people that were in the party. And if it just communicate with your DM, hey, I want to do this thing, how do I do that? And any person that, well, I should say any decent if you've got decent people in your party, are going to understand that you're a new player and are going to accept that, hopefully. If you're playing with cool people, you've got people who understand that you're new to this game, and asking questions should be okay at your table.
Yep.
Another tip that I have. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just thinking of another tip that I always found useful is if you're a GM and you have especially new players, but really anybody who may struggle with role playing or creative descriptions, you can give them kind of, I come from the education world, and for a lot of kiddos, we'll give them sentence starters. So when it's their turn, describe the situation that's going on around them. So maybe they're hiding behind a wall, looking out around the corner. You see two goblins coming your way. You can almost smell their terrible breath on you. They're rounding the corner right now. What do you want to do? And you kind of set up the scenario, and they just have to continue from where you left off. And if you kind of give them that starter, sometimes it gives them a place to run from rather than just, it's your turn, go. Which can be intimidating for anybody.
Yeah, I used to do something similar, because everything is happening all around you at the same time, even though people are taking their turns. And if you've got 7-8 people who are playing, it takes longer and longer and longer to get to that last person. And you go, right, you can see the battle unfolding. Everyone's taking their steps. Everyone's just starting to clash. What do you want to do? It's a really nice way of setting that scene in their head from their point of view. I do enjoy that.
Will's actually a mate of mine. So if you did want in on my Sunday game, just give me a shout. You're more than welcome. So
there you go. Oh, and Dave, I may know somebody that you may want to talk to at some point. I can chat with you after the show that you might enjoy having on your little program here.
Yeah, sure. If you if they want to do different things.
An up-and-comer, shall we say, that I think is quite talented. I'll talk to you about it after the show.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, exciting stuff. Trust me.
Explicitly.
Thank you.
So I mean, I know, not that I know. It seems weird to say I know Theo. I've been watching Theo for quite a while now, because he's got his YouTube channel.
That sounds even weirder.
Yeah. There's no safe way to say that.
I'd explain those footprints outside my window.
That's why you moved, wasn't it, Theo?
Exactly.
So, because of Theo's channel, does some fantastic reviews. Check out his channel. We'll get Steve to put the link in the live chat for everyone. And you know, out of all the reviewers, there's a few viewers that I follow. Josh McGuire is another one. Hi, Josh, if you're out there. And it was finding people who were just talking to you in the same game terms that you understood. It's like, this is really good because it is. And look at the detail. Look at the effort. Look at the design. Look at the creativity. Look at the stuff that's gone into it. And you think, yes. Right. And I've seen so many review websites and review channels that just don't do that. They don't go into that detail. And that's why Theo is one of the first people I contacted when we were setting up the kind of the pandemic stream, if you like.
Thank you. I appreciate
to kind of come on the show.
It's been a lot of fun. This is my third time on the show. Well, unless you count that.
Yeah, you did
party.
Then it's the fifth, Theo. Then it's the fifth.
I don't even know what day of the week it is ever.
No.
So
it's the Great British Brush Off. It's Monday. It's No, it's been good. It's been good, and the other thing is the friends we've made out of that as well. It's good to see everyone still doing what they're doing and growing and getting better. I mentioned Josh. Josh is. We've already mentioned it at the rap party, but Josh is going to be a regular player on the Avernus game as well. So we've got various things going on. And it's nice to see those relationships continue to kind of, what are we doing now? How are we doing? How do we continue to network? How do we continue to support and help each other? And again, we're in different countries. It's not just, different states or anything. We're completely different time zones, but still making it work.
I haven't played there's been very few games of D&D that I played in the past year where all the players were on the same continent.
Yes.
I've been playing with my friends in Japan. I've got a friend in Thailand now that we're playing together.
Okay, guys, I have just seen the clock. We are 2 minutes away from judgment.
Say what?
I'm sorry, Leia. I think I completely interrupted you. Were talking about doing the cape too. I'm so sorry.
You're all good. I finished it.
I just remembered the base on this mini.
It's all good. So I went ahead and washed mine as well. So I'm just waiting for that wash. That's kind of.
Connor, you've got 2 minutes. What's a good way to do the wash?
Slap it on.
I just
Dunk it in.
I've got this nice big brush.
I use a big brush. Okay. Right.
I think this says it's a number 8, but I don't know if that's
Big
in
brush.
relative to anything.
Okay.
So I just took a little bit of my Game Wash Black.
Yep.
And I put it into one of these little palette things with just a brush of water. So just like dipped the bristles into my water and then just swirled it around with my black, just because the black tends to be a little bit harsh.
Yep.
And I don't want it to completely take over. But I do, again, want it to be kind of dingy because, again, I want more of a, like a dingy looking Gray Maiden.
Yep.
So, and then I just took the brush and I just slapped it on.
All over, yeah?
Yep. I'm not too particular. I actually tend to enjoy higher contrast miniatures. So I like a lot of wash to like be in the recesses. I want to be able to see all of like the deep recesses of my miniature. So like if you see, I've got lots of wash that has kind of dipped down into these capey bits. So I just keep twirling around because I'm notorious for missing parts, missing stuff when I wash.
And do you know how does wash work? Because wash is basically watered down paint, and then when the water dries, the excess paint just gets stuck in those crevices. Is that what it?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. I mean, essentially, it is just super watered down paint. Like, you can make your own washes. I've seen a couple of people. I think it's Black Magic Craft, I want to say in particular.
Yeah, super.
He does a lot of stuff on washes where he just uses craft paint with water and a little bit of dish soap. I've used that particular method on my terrain stuff, and it has turned out really, really pretty. So you can definitely make your own wash in a pinch. I just tend to prefer pre-made stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, once the water evaporates, essentially you have all of the like pigment particles stuck in the little recesses of your miniature. And normally once this is all dried, I putzed around a little bit longer than I probably should have, or else I would have dry brushed to get some of these really cool details in the shield. She's got some really cool details on her shin guards and the breastplate. I didn't get around to highlighting her, but I kind of like her unhighlighted. I think she looks kind of cool and dark and all that fun stuff. So,
what color would you use to dry brush?
I would take I would probably use red and silver.
I see a pattern.
What? So, and this is a trick that I used, or that I learned from working with Warhammer, is when you use red, you wash with black because you get a better contrast. I actually have, I was hoping we'd get around to this so I could do some dry brushing and explain this a little bit. I have, if you do dry brush with like certain colors, I actually have a red dry brush that I use specifically just for red, because red never washes out of anything. You have to be really careful with your paintbrushes and wash them very well, because red tends to stick in the bristles for some reason. I've got a dry brush that I just cannot get red out of, so I just use it for red. And then I would use a little bit of this. I've got this Necron compound from Citadel Paints that I would probably use on its nice bright silver. And I would probably do what I mentioned, what I would normally do with like Warhammer stuff, is I take the dry brush and I get the paint really in there, get most of it off on my paper towel here, and I tend to use the side of the brush opposed to using the bristles, just because I tend to like the look of super highlighted details. And that is what I would do with that.
That's awesome.
Right, everybody, it is paintbrushes down.
Will's asking,
down.
is your Necron compound like jelly?
I don't know. This is a brand new pot.
Okay.
I had to rebuy mine because the last Necron compound that I had disintegrated. I stuck my paintbrush into it, like went to get some of it onto my brush, and like it all just I don't know what it did. It was I can't describe it. Annoying. It's the only descriptor that comes to mind.
Okay, so
I think I did. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say we're gonna move on to the judging section. So what we're going to do, we're going to switch the cameras around. We're just going to go to full zoom, just so we can pin up everybody's minis on their mini cam. We are going to start with Joe, and then work our way down if everybody is cool.
Yeah, you're not showing Leah and Theo's first, or are we doing
yeah.
Desano?
No, let's do that. Let's see how it. So let's do Leah first. Let's see how it's supposed to look. So let's
see if I can get
right. So I've got
super good light.
Pin. There we go.
Bring this down just a smidge so I can get some good light in there, so you guys can all see
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
there we go. That
There we go.
it reminds me of Batwoman, the black and the red.
Oh yeah, right.
So you can see that this is why I really like that technique that I found, taking the bright silver and mixing it with that black, because I've got this really nice like flat black that I can work with.
Yeah.
And just imagine what this would look like if I had a little bit of silver on here. And I actually, while you guys might go around, I might blindly dry brush this a little bit because there are some really cool things on here. I've got,
Really
of course,
has got
my
that
little...
effect on it. It's
Yeah.
really good.
I notice as
Got
well,
the-
as you paint, you just find more and more, like the buckles and things. Like, I've missed bits and pieces. I'm going to go over this because it's such a fantastic model.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Yeah.
Normally I would take like the plain silver and like take a small brush and get some of these buckles and whatnot. But whatevs. But yeah, I really like the look of this nice dark silver. Like, yeah, that looks super cool. Cool.
Okay.
All right, let's not focus on me anymore. Go to
Let's-
somebody else.
Let's have a look at Theo. Theo.
Why do I have to follow Leia?
Because you're the guest.
There we go.
Which camera are we doing here? I can't see my own camera. Let's see.
Okay, you are on now.
Oh gosh. Let's see if I can get some light on it. I don't know if you can even see mine.
Back your hand behind it and it should autofocus.
Is it not focusing?
It's focused on your tripod at the moment, I think.
There.
Yeah.
I just have the. I wonder if I just do my camera up above me here.
Yeah, do it.
Let me just put something white behind it. Surely I have something in here that I can put behind it. You want to do somebody else while I grab something?
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Joe. Not that one. Where's Joe's mini cam?
Okay.
There we go. Wow. Look at that cape.
That you've used that shifter paint, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I used it on the shield. I used the dark green and tin on the shield. Excuse the paint nails. And the emerald and mauve on the cape. Yeah.
Now I just really need to get shifter paint and paint everything with it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
That's all right. And then for the jewel bit, I did what's it called? Not Necron.
Neon grey.
Tesseract glow, and then put mix that with some of the livery green from Vallejo.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that as a gem. Actually, I just.
Yeah. And all the reference photos, it's just painted like the rest of the shield. But if I were doing this to sell it, I definitely do a jewel.
It kind of screamed of Eldar type stuff from 40k. I just sort of saw it and was like, yeah, I like the cloak.
That Tesseract green looks so cool.
Jeez, look at that. Is that what the cape is?
No, the cape is the shifters.
The shifter?
Yeah.
Gosh, so ethereal looking.
I know, so cool, isn't it?
And the gem is the...
it's a mix of Tesseract glow and livery green from Vallejo.
You could edge the rest of the detail on the shield in that as well. That'd look cool.
Yeah, that's true. If I had time, I could have done these little twirly bits, whatever they're called. So,
Yeah, that's what I wish I had time for, to dry brush that and make it pop.
So cool.
Yeah. Cool. Shiny capes are very important. I learned this in Destiny.
Cool. Okay, so that is Joe. Let's try and find Steve. Steve's phone mini.
Right, here you go. So I think I managed to get the matte effect by mixing the black and the silver.
Like a Death Knight.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere near finished. The brown hasn't picked up. I think I should have used a darker brown. I used I didn't have a chocolate brown, so I used something called Beastly Brown, but I should have gone with a charred maybe. That was a bit darker. I like your effect for the cape. I managed to do that at the bottom. I didn't wash with black. I mixed red and umber together. It hasn't quite popped the same. It looked okay when it was wet, but now it's dried. It hasn't. I obviously didn't put enough umber in. It hasn't settled as much. But I really like the black effect. I just wish I had time to finish this one.
Yeah. No, that looks really cool.
Great job.
Well done, Steve.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Cool. And where's my camera? Finally, this one. So this, so this is my. So I mixed black with the silver. I'm using a scarlet red.
I like that scarlet red on that though.
Yeah, it's good, man.
I missed the hand behind the shield, which I realised, and I haven't painted the other hand with the sword hilt.
If it makes you feel better, I forgot the sword, the shield strap.
And then you might be able to see it. There is a brown on the bottom of the cape.
Yeah.
And it's still, the wash is still drying. But yeah, I was quite surprised. Again, you know, the wash picks up all this detail on the boots. I didn't notice that before. Tiny detail. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favourites I've painted so far. I need to do more like heroes and NPCs, because we do a lot of monsters. But we need like cool characters. So this one's good. I like that.
Just seeing it up there on the camera, like so many of these minis, I miss so many details, even the pre-painted ones, until I get them on our camera for our station, our YouTube channel. And you get to really see those details when the mini's blown up like that. Like, look at that.
Yeah. I mean, I look at that boot. Look.
Yeah.
That's just amazing.
I can't see any of that in real life. I can only see it on your camera here right now.
Yeah. But yeah, there were some nice, there were some really nice tips in there, which I was quite happy with. There've been some techniques over the course of the Great British Brush Off of just kind of learning these different techniques, and you think, I just can't do that, or I've done it wrong. But no, the stuff you did here and like the mixing and things, I think you start to get a deeper appreciation for it. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Excellent work.
That is.
I mean,
that
and like I said before the show, like this is something I literally learned that technique last week.
Yeah.
I'm always learning.
Cool.
I've never thought about making the silver matte, because I hate painting with metallics. But that is a really nice effect, and a simple dry brush over the top of that would really make it look good.
The one that I saw it on was somebody was using it on a Warhammer piece, and then they took a little bit of like rolled up tissue paper and dipped it in like the brighter silver and like dabbed it on to make it look like it was stippled, and then dry brushed.
Sponges are good for that as well.
Yeah. And when they dry brushed over it, I was like, that's it. I'm only going to paint silver like that from now on.
Yeah, cause I saw Warhammer Marine, somebody done in black and gold, and that had a matte effect. So I wonder if that was the similar style. I've never seen that before. I never would have worked that out for myself. That is, I'm going to use it again. I can't stand painting with silver. It's horrible.
Yeah, I'm not a big silver fan. I like painting gold armor more so than silver ever.
So, while Leia is deciding who is going to get this session's Star Painter Award, you, the audience, get to pick who's going to be the silver one. So start thinking. Don't start putting it in chat yet, but start having a think, and then Theo can either take your advice or ignore it and award the silver star to the runner-up. Okay, so Leah, this is it. Over to you.
Steve, can I see yours again? Can you just pop it into your camera view real quick?
Did you say me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, let's whack it in
sorry.
there.
I'm gonna have to put it up because I can't see. There we go. For my own video. There
Oh,
we go.
you're good. You're good.
There we go.
Oh, it's so hard.
One good way to determine the winners is to give them your Venmo information and
The thing is, though, is like I guess I'm going from like a standpoint of, does this look like, if I saw this, does this look like a Gray Maiden? And I feel like Steve's and Dave's does that. Sorry, Joe. I love your shifter paint, but if I saw that, I would not think Gray Maiden.
Nope.
You know, I'm gonna give it to Dave.
Dave, is that your first gold?
No, it's my second.
Congratulations!
Thank you very much. Yeah,
I would agree with that. I'd have given it to Dave. I
Yeah,
think that Scarlet
because
Red that he used was really good.
The Scarlet Red was really good, and you dove right in when I was like, I'm gonna throw a curveball at you guys, and you were all for it. So
If you look at like the first episode in comparison to that model that you just painted there, there's like such a vast improvement between the two.
yeah. I've definitely enjoyed doing it, and you can see the practice in. But again, that is the purpose of this show, is to show you can do it. You know, do not be. You've just got to start doing it. Which I've loved doing it. It's definitely something I'm going to keep on doing, just because I have so many to paint. But we need to do more. We need to do more. I'm enjoying it. So, everyone at home at watching, thank you very much. Now you get to pick the runner-up. Is it going to be Joe, or is it going to be Steve? Steve, can you quickly set up a
vote that just says Joe on it?
Joe 1, Joe 2.
I'm doing it now.
And then what? 20 seconds? Or is it?
I'm gonna put it on for 2 minutes. Okay?
It's like the licorice vote all over again.
So it is. It is up now. It's up now.
Okay, so everyone gets to vote on this. Again, Theo can choose to ignore.
I'm not voting. My hands are away.
My Venmo name is.
Yeah, my hands are away, but my feet are voting like crazy.
Just text you one. Vote for me.
Thousands of channel points at this.
I think we both got enough channel points to dump like tons. I got like 42k.
It's the person who doesn't get a star, the one who has to buy the drinks for next week.
Yeah, well, when we're actually, I suppose we're able to meet in the garden now, aren't we?
We can do. There's a garden. We do a garden painting session.
Yeah.
Joe, can you put yours on the screen again?
Oh, yes.
It goes again.
Hold on, I need to change the cam. Joe, that one. Here we go. That is Joe's.
Oh.
As you can see, he's red. He's missed a bit on the edging. He's gone over the skin a little bit on the thumb.
How much paint is on your face? That's the way I judge.
Mate, it's how much paint is on my fingers that went like green nails like everywhere. This is my daughter, by the way. She enjoys painting my nails.
Maybe we should give her the silver star.
Yeah, I picked most of the stuff that's on my skin off, so no, she wouldn't get a silver star.
No fault of her own.
Yeah.
How'd that vote go?
It's still up. There's about 20 seconds left, but
I see it there.
I think it's decided.
Oh,
so it's currently Joe out in front.
I've only got 12k channel points now.
I'm so sorry.
Do you know someone called Gamer Junkie 89?
I don't.
I do.
Can they influence the poll with points?
Yeah.
Yes, they can.
Yeah, so you can vote once for free, and then after that it's channel points. So.
To be fair, Joe would have still got it. So Joe got 7 votes, and I got 3 votes.
Just like real democracy.
Thank you, guys.
Yes,
No, it's up to Theo whether he wants to agree
Yeah,
with that or.
it's Theo can.
Who am I to go against the will of the little badgers? Congratulations, Joe.
Thank you.
Looks amazing. Looks like a plane shifted. It's just a plane shifted Gray Maiden who spent a little bit too much time in the Feywild, or do you have a story behind it?
Yeah, maybe like +1 Coca billing.
There we go.
It was
There
the
we go.
shield that won it. I think the shield was awesome.
It's a magical.
I preferred the shield to the cloak actually.
Oh, it's a cloak of displacement or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Cool.
congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
So
And,
this actually
excellent work,
means
Steve,
it's
as
a draw,
well.
isn't
You-
it?
It is currently a draw now. Yeah.
Steve, we couldn't give it for you because you don't have enough room next to your name for another silver star.
I don't get to be a 4-star general this season.
We have to see what happens next season. See if we can just accumulate, fill up the whole screen, whole window with stars.
Is this the last one for the season?
This is the end of season 1.
That means it's actually a draw.
It's actually a draw.
It is.
Wow.
Are you leaving us on a cliffhanger, Dave? Of some
Yeah.
sort?
No, there's no cliffhanger. Apart from we will be back next week. We are moving straight into season 2, and it's moving from fortnightly to weekly. So we've got up and coming a new batch of 6 weeks for season 2. We're still sticking with Pathfinder and Paizo and Wizkids minis. So stay tuned. We'll be doing some heroes next week. So keep an eye on all the socials. We'll be sharing those at some point soon. Thank you very much to Theo for joining us again from Gallant Goblin. Everybody, do check out the links in the live chat. And Leia Robertson, our pro artist for this week. Thank you very much for joining us. And check out her appearances on Vazen. That's also on our YouTube channel. And she will be back again. Definitely, we've got to get it back painting. But
Apparently,
if there's more room on the gaming stuff, we'll get you in on that as well.
Heck yeah.
That's it. Thank you everybody for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned some of those tips
See you
and
tomorrow
tricks.
night.
What's happening
tomorrow night?
What day is it?
Vazen
tomorrow night. I haven't got my scripty things up. Vazen on Tuesday. Thursday is Runelords. Nothing on Friday because we're having a little rest. And back with Vampire on Sunday.
Cast on Saturday.
Yep. Right. See you all later. Everybody, have some fun. We'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
I'll find someone to raid.
Yeah.